training as well. Now, she is a 17-year-old Welsh Section A pony, and she stands at around 11 hands, so she's only a little one. Bear with me, notes are all blowing around. So she was rescued back in 2013. She came with 21 other horses as a part of a rescue that involved lots of welfare charities. So when there's a big rescue going on, lots of people think the charities are all in competition with each other, but actually, more often than not, we all end up working together because quite often there are big groups of horses abandoned, and none of us can fit 21 horses in one go. So we all turn up and we all take however many horses we can. So they were just abandoned on a plot of land. No owner came forward for them. At the time, Socks was very heavily pregnant as well. She was completely unhandled, so she'd not had people around her much at all. And she was also very, very overweight, which made it very dangerous for her to be in that state of pregnancy and be that overweight. It meant moving around too much could cause her injury. So she had to have lots of TLC, and she had to be kept very quiet and kept under very close veterinary supervision. So not long after she arrived, she gave birth to a foal who we called Ruby. Now, Ruby is now works on our discovery courses. So Socks is also working on the discovery courses. She's very new to it. So Socks initially went out to a lone home. She stayed there for a while, but she came back through no fault of her own. But that's the beauty of our rehoming scheme. Because it's a loan scheme, because we don't legally transfer ownership, if the circumstances change, it means they always come back to us. They don't get passed from pillar to post. We don't lose track of them. And it means that while they're on their loan home, we can be on hand for advice and help. And we're that support cushion there for the whole duration that they're out on their home. So because she couldn't stay there, she came back to us. But because she has a lot of problems with managing her weight and things, we thought it was probably best if she stays here, where we've got the facilities and all the things on site to be able to cope with that. We have things like track systems, where grass-free areas where they live on hay but have lots of exercise because they go around a track and things like that. So we're set up to be able to cope with all sorts of problems like that. So Socks is now just starting, as I say, to work on the discovery courses, which is working with the children, and she is really doing well. She's only just started to join in the sessions, but it means that mother and daughter are going to be back working together again. So she is also on our sponsorship scheme. So if you haven't come across that yet, have a little look in the area behind here. We have a little scheme where you can sponsor a horse and get a little cuddly toy and a certificate and updates on them through the year, and you get invites to come in and see them. So Socks is one of our sponsor horses. Now at the back there, the dark brown one, which is what we call Bay, she's called Kyra, and she is also a discovery horse. She is a 19-year-old New Forest pony, and she's about 14 hands. So Kyra came to Horse World back in 2013 as part of an RSPCA seizure. So we get a lot of our horses come through either the police or the RSPCA. We get calls to go out when they're going to seize them from their owners. And the group of horses they'd seized were all underweight, all suffering with rain scald, which is when they've been left out in the rain with no shelter. They can get very, very sore. It's almost like an eczema sort of thing. So she had that quite badly, so that had to be treated. And when she came back, and she got back to full health, coming around behind me there. When she got back to full health, she was assessed by the training team and the chiropractor, and who decided she would be perfect for discovery courses. So all of our horses go through a veterinary assessment. They see the chiropractor, the dentist, the farrier, basically a full MAT before we do any work with them. And we thought that she would be suitable for discovery, so she started training for that. So if you don't know much about discovery, we've got an area on the yard, discovery area on the yard, where you can find out more about it. But basically, it's a program that we run for children, usually children that are outside of mainstream schooling for one reason or another. And it's unique in that we use rehabilitated rescued horses to help change the lives of these young people who experience social, emotional and behavioural difficulties. So it teaches them basic life skills and communication skills, helps build their self-esteem. So it's really worthwhile work, and it's really great that these rescued horses that have come from nothing can not only get back to full health, but actually live a purposeful life, making a difference to others. And it also means for a lot of the young people, if they've suffered trauma themselves in the past, they can identify with the horses and they can see, oh, this horse has come from a background like me where I've been through trauma, but they've come out the other side and they've got a life ahead of them, and perhaps I can as well. So it works really, really well with for that. Now in front we've got Calypso. She's leading the way now. And Calypso, or Callie for short, is a 5-year-old cob. So a cob is the type she is, which is the thick-set horse with the feathered legs. And she arrived in 2019, and she was a foal with her mother, who was called Epona. So if you've met Apollo, who was in here earlier and is on our sponsorship scheme, Calypso was part of the same rescue, and they were a group of 4 that were being illegally grazed on council land. So an abandonment notice was put up, but no owner came forward for them, and so they were all taken in. So her mother, Epona, was also pregnant and later gave birth to a healthy foal here at Horse World, who we called Tiny Tim. So she had 2 foals 2 years running, basically. Now, both Epona and Tiny Tim have gone on since to find loving lone homes. And Calypso has now started doing some groundwork training. So that is, she's doing some lunging and long reining and things like that, like you might have seen earlier when we were doing some of the training demonstration. And we think she's got the potential to make a discovery pony as well. But we're taking her training very slowly because she can be quite lively. So each stage of the training will assess if she's going to be suitable, and if not, then she has the potential to go out and be rehomed on our loan scheme. So either way, she's going to have a nice happy life. And last but not least, we've got Florence, who's in the red head collar here, the little cob in the red collar. So Florence, or Flo, is a 4-year-old cob, and she is, her colour is what we call piebald. So Calypso and Flo are piebald in colour, which is the black and white colour. So she's about 12 hands, and she was very badly neglected before she arrived. She came in 2021, and it's taken quite a long time to rehabilitate her. She's been training to do some basic groundwork in preparation for a lone home, and then her rehomer can find a home where her rehomer can then continue her education once we've got her to a stage where we're confident that they'll be able to do that. And but Florence she's a bit of a slow thinker, so it takes a while for her to take in her surroundings and process information. And if she feels rushed, she has a bit of a habit of planting herself on the spot until she feels happy to move. So her training has to be done very much at her own speed. So in the last week, she's been lucky enough to find a new lone home, hasn't she? So we've had her new lone home confirmed within the last few days, and so she'll be heading off to a new family very soon. So when people apply for a horse, we can go through stages of home checks. We go and check that the home is suitable for the horse that they've applied for, that they're compatible with the horse, and that they're going to be able to continue with the training and things like that. So Flo's been very lucky that the right person's come up, and she'll be heading off to her home very soon. Now, we do hope that they will stay in their homes for life, but as I mentioned earlier, the beauty of the loan scheme is that if for any reason they can't, then they will just come back here to us. So that's our 4 little mares that we've got here in the school today. So we'll bring them round so you can say hello to them afterwards and ask any questions. But mainly, I wanted to thank you all for coming today. Our open day is our biggest fundraising event of the year. It's a really important fundraising event for us. We've got just over 100 horses on site at any one time, all in various different stages of rehabilitation. Now, you won't see 100 today, and the reason for that is because those that have been recently rescued Some of them are still absolutely wild as a hare and won't come near people. Some of them might have been abused in the past, so they don't like people at the moment. We've got to very gradually convince them that not all people are bad. So what you don't see behind the scenes in the week leading up to Open Day is us moving all the horses that won't cope with the hustle and bustle out to the farthest reaches of the farm. And we've got 180 acres, so that can involve a lot of walking for the full grooms to take them all out there. So move them all out to the farthest reaches for the ones that won't cope with it. And the ones that will cope with it and are happy to enjoy all the attention, we bring those closer. So we've got horses of all different stages here. So the ones you see all happy and healthy, we bring closer here, but we have them literally every stage of rehabilitation, every sort of background you can possibly think of. It costs the charity just over £1.2 million a year to keep running. So all of these horses you see here today that you've seen happy and healthy, they've all come from various different backgrounds where they would have had a very bleak future if they couldn't have come here. Many of them wouldn't have made it. So every penny you've spent here today, that's where it's going. It's going into rehabilitating these horses and giving them a purposeful, happy life ahead of them. It's also going into helping with the discovery courses and helping change the lives of young people that maybe haven't been able to cope with school and things like that in the past and have found a new way forward. So everything you spent here today has been absolutely worthwhile, and I just want to thank you all very, very much for that. And there's lots of different ways you can support the charity. We've got the sponsorship scheme's a really fun way of doing it because you get your little cuddly toy and your certificate and you can sponsor a horse. We've also got things like setting up a regular direct debit or maybe even considering leaving a gift in your will. So there's lots of different ways, but every single thing that you do, even just coming here and letting us show you what we do as a charity, we just really appreciate it. So thank you very much for that. If you do want to ask any questions, we'll be just over here after, but enjoy the rest of your day here at Horsewell.